ain't nothing like a funky beat.
Speaking about people with no fucking rights, dude, we've got this British EP by this British guy. Who's British, dude? He is from, oh shit, I think he's from Liverpool.
He's from Northamptonshire.
Is he from North Hampshire?
No, he's from Froderberg, Cheshire.
Okay. Froderberg, Cheshire. I have no idea where he's from. I think he is.
Is this the intro, or are we?
This is the intro to the.
I think we started at some point there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun to figure out the actual start of.
What do you mean? We're already 3 minutes into this.
I'm not keeping all this in.
This is why our episodes don't get views. You're missing out the good parts. This is our dynamic here.
What is the name of the album and what is the artist?
This is an EP by Shotty Horroh called The Teller. And this is a 5-part episodic little quick thing. I wanted to put this in front of these boys before I give them a more heavier album that's not 5 songs and that's not succinct. Yeah, I don't really have any fancy things to say about this guy. He's a British battle rapper turned into a actual musician. He signed a record deal with Sony Music Group. Big guy in the scene over there. Yeah, and this is one of his more fancy projects. A lot of his stuff isn't like this. A lot of his stuff is very Western rap adjacent, which is a little interesting because he's a British guy. Most British people, I feel like, have their albums more catered towards a specific thing, much like this. But this guy really goes everywhere with his work, and I kind of like it. I think that's why I like him so much.
I got a question real quick. When you say Western rap, are we talking about cowboys?
Dude, I'm talking about everything that's not British.
Oh,
I don't know, because let's be real. I sent you guys some French rap. German and Russian rap is pretty cool, but that's it.
Are you into any rap by black people?
No.
This guy's fucking Eminem.
What are you talking about? We reviewed that one Chance the Rapper album.
You hate that guy.
The one you hate.
You gave it like a 2.
Yeah, dude, I love black people. I just don't think you guys like black people. So it's hard, wanting to show you guys black music.
Dude, Jackson literally has a black friend.
Yeah, just one, though.
I've got 2. We're not counting JS.
We're not.
Damn. What do we even meet up for in California? Anyways, I guess I'll start with giving my synopsis of my general thoughts about this album. I think it is interesting. I've heard this one before, and I do like the setup of it. It is literally just a story played out in 5 separate songs, which I think is a very cool concept. I think one of the biggest attractors is mostly just in the way I consume music. Something like this isn't something I'd go out of my way to really listen to, and so I'm I want to listen to that fucking album again. But it's mostly just because the actual music of it, there's effort in the lyrics and the setup of all these things, but I don't really feel like I get a crazy amount of value out of listening to it more than once or twice, because I already know the fucking story, so I'm basically just hearing it again. So yeah, I think it's cool, but I'm not I'm not crazy about this, I wouldn't say.
I definitely appreciate that as a non-rap enjoyer as yourself. I think as we get deeper into this and the more rap albums I show you guys, I think it'll be more commonplace for you guys to latch onto songs with a story, because that's just not rap. That's a skill. That's not something every rapper can do. That's
oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That's very much a unique thing. So I think that's just down to not a lot of consumption, but that makes me excited to show you some more storytellers so you can really compare and contrast the skills.
I do like storytelling in music. I have a lot of songs I'm a big fan of because they do tell stories in them, but most of the time those are either, they're succinct in the song that they take place in, or the songs stand on their own. And I would say these songs don't really stand on their own.
You need them all together.
Exactly. And that's also another thing. Maybe this is just a difference in the way, like, I don't know if you guys agree with me. Like, I don't think I'd ever go out of my way to listen to some random song in this album. If I'm listening to this, I'd be listening to the entire album. And maybe that's just the way we like this listen to music. Like with movies, or not movies, but like a TV show, for example. I'm not the type of guy that just goes and watches some random episode of a show. If I'm going to watch a show, I'm going to start that shit over again and watch it from the start every time. And that's just the way I consume media, which unfortunately does not translate super well into an album like this because, you know, I've listened to it like once or twice and I don't really think I'd go out of my way to listen to this too much outside of that, which is not like this isn't a crazy criticism. It's mostly just like a critique of the format. But it's, you know, it's just an inevitability of the way they present it.
Yeah. Personally, I fucked with this album pretty heavy. Once I hit the second song and, you know, he said, you know, whatever line was it where he referenced the guy's family, I went, oh, I get it's gonna be a connected thing. That's neat. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed this album. Personally, I largely agree with, like, these songs don't really stand on their own. However, I do think the final song stands on its own a decent bit. And I, in fact, did add that one to my liked songs playlist, so.
Yeah, I quite like Bad Breed on its own. I like Dave's Dilemma on its own, and I do like Vultures Fly in My Head on its own. I have those three in my playlist. I feel like I can listen to those separately because they form, like, you can listen to those as separate stories in it of themselves, and just having the side stories connect to them is like the best way I could relate it was like if you ever played GTA 4 and then played the DLCs to like realize that you were playing a character that were interacting in the world and the world was moving the same way that like the main story was, like blew a lot of people's mind at the time. Like, holy, like shit, we're seeing this same mission from this guy's perspective and we're seeing how all these people are interconnected. And it really fleshed out the story when you had so little characters. And I feel like this does this so well. Like, I think although you're telling the same story with Dave's Dilemma and Bad Breed, the way you're telling them differently just fleshes out that overall universe quite well. I also think it's just the way I consume media as well, because I definitely skip through, watch random episodes of House. I can watch random episodes of Burn Notice. I've even watched random episodes of Clan Ad. Like, it's just really easy because I don't know, because it's almost like I'm wondering what happened before, but then I remember, and then I remember the show, and it's like a good nostalgic feeling. I do that with Library of Babel, actually. Foot on the Neck, and the one where he reveals that the whole story is like backwards. Foot on the Neck and Labyrinth are like in my like songs playlist, just because like, geez, I just like the overall story of them. Not even connected to the overall story, but just the story of that song is pretty cool. They're almost like mini set pieces to me. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, I think using the word set pieces there is pretty apt, and that's definitely how I feel about that final one. Just because the final song, it feels like that's the one where he like pulled out all the stops. Like, that's the one where he's the fastest. He's doing the most like I don't know, rhythm switches. I don't know what the official terminology is, but
he's hopping. He's the official terminology would just he's switching rhyme patterns, which is really cool. You notice that. That's super cool. You notice that. That's super cool. You notice that.
Thank you.
It's working, people. It's working. Soon they're going to be talking about bars and schemes and similes, bro. I'm there.
I've seen a handful of rappers react to Tom MacDonald songs. Do we want to go into favorite and least favorite songs on this one?
Sure, I'll hop into my favorites. If Jackson doesn't want to go first.
I'm gonna just throw out here. I assume everyone's least favorite is Ricardo's Keys.
No, I like Ricardo's Keys.
I would probably agree with Tanner on that one. Most of these songs are pretty similar to me, but yeah, I'm not a crazy big fan. I probably would say that one. My favorite though is Bad Breed. I like the vocal delivery of it. I think it's interesting. I think mostly I like that one not generally speaking, I think all these songs are like about the same to me. But I think I mostly just like the context of that second one, where it really does like flip the story on its head. I really like when media does that, where you get one side of the story and then immediately you get the other side, and just like Tanichi said, it, you know, paints the setting of what you're looking at. It gives you a lot more context. I think it's interesting the way they do that.
You would love GTA 4.
Dude, you would love The Last
GTA
of Us
4 and
Part 2.
DLC. You would love GTA 4 and it's a DLC. Dude, my favorite was Vultures Fly in My Head. I think him switching up rhyme patterns and how he does it with the story is cool. It's a close tie between Bad Breed, only because I like the tonal switch of, like I mentioned this before, they're the same story, but it's like the tonal shift is like super key there. Like Dave's Dilemma starts off kind of happy and cheery. You're like, this guy's a fucking idiot, and then you slowly see the downward spiral. Whereas Bad Breed is down the whole way, and then because you've heard Dave's Dilemma, you know how the story is gonna end. So, like in terms of the story, that would be his climax and like rise. But you know what's gonna happen, so it's not really. I just like that like dichotomy of storytelling. I really like creative storytelling in rap, which is why I picked this over other EPs, because the overall storytelling I think is just really fucking good.
Yeah, Vultures was easily my favorite as well for all the reasons mentioned.
Yeah, my least favorite was Consequences.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a part in Consequences that I liked a lot, and it kind of just speaks onto some of the creativity in the album itself, where you get that transition from whatever fucking his name is, I immediately already forgot, Davey, reacting to, you know, his whole family being killed, and then you hear the seagulls and like the ice shaking in the glass, and then it cuts to his stepbrother talking. I think that's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Things like that, similar with those interesting transitions. I think it's cool seeing the I don't know, they just portray it in an interesting way. They don't like hold your hand. It's not like a sharp transition. It felt very natural. And there's similar things like that throughout. Like when they're like, what are we gonna do about this door? And then you hear a gunshot and they're like, okay, that solves that. Things like that. I think it's fun. They had fun writing things like that.
Yeah. The reason why I don't like Consequences is because of the cartel. Because of the cartel simile. Listen, simile is not done well. And it's a bad fucking simile. And from a battle rapper as good as Shotty Horroh to put that bad of a fucking simile in your fucking thing blows my mind. He's so good, but I just it looks like cartel, but I can't tell. I hate it. It's my least favorite because I get to that part and I remember it's a rap song and I'm like, oh god, pain. Dude, let's go into our overall for this piece of work.
Well, I don't want to get my rank yet. I still have more stuff to talk about.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just rapid fire some things.
No rapid fire. Take your time.
I mean, a lot of these aren't super deep. A big one, and this goes with a lot of rap songs, is I am a big fan of instrumentals. This album has the most bare bones instrumentals ever just to like fit the scene. That's not a problem with it. The whole point of it is to interestingly tell this story, and it's about the lyrics. The instrumentals are entirely just there to support that, and they do a fine job, but like it's just not kind of what I look for in music. So, you know, it's not a big criticism, it's just something, it's whatever. I think the story is portrayed in some interesting ways, and I do like the way they, you know, made an album based around a story. I don't really think the story is that interesting, generally speaking. It's not like the most revolutionary thing ever. I think it's mostly the intrigue comes just from the fact that they made it into a rap album, which I think is cool. There's some, you know, the plot, I guess, they're trying to weave is just kind of, it's whatever to me, but I think the idea that they translated that into song is cool.
I disagree. I think he made a massive fucking mistake not actually mixing and creating better background fucking instrumentals for these songs. The reason why Vultures Fly in My Head is so fucking good is because that bouncy background track fits with how rapid and how fast paced he's delivering some of his bars. it's not there for Ricardo's keys. It's not there for fucking Consequences. I don't know why he gave up, or not gave up. That's unfair. I don't know why it's not there for those parts. My theory is those are more solemn, sad songs in relation to the story, so it felt kind of not right to have more hip-hop beats. But no, what are we talking about? Rap.
I think it's just an expectation. I haven't listened to a ton of it, and most of the time when I listen to a rap album, the instrumentals are incredibly bare bones.
That's true.
And that's just kind of what I'm used to, so I just assumed it was intentional.
No,
Anywho,
that's a flaw of today's music, of 2020 and on, and this, like, weird, I don't know, that's a flaw of the 808s. It's just 808s, and there's no effort in, like, fucking making the instrumental like what you want to listen to.
So, you know, they can put a lot more. I mean, in fairness, it is hard to make interesting, cool instrumentals and also like tell a story like this. It's just a lot more effort.
Pharrell does it every album,
and he's a wizard for that. Anywho, that does transition into
bars.
Another thing that is related to your point about like him kind of like abandoning concept. For like Bad Blood, the very start of it, like Consequences, you're like, I can't believe we just did that, you know? Or like the they do like some interesting things with the vocals at the start, and then they just don't do it for like the rest of the fucking songs. And like most of the time, like the very starts of the songs can be kind of interesting in their delivery, and then they become much more flat as it goes on. Which, you know, they could do something, but they don't. And it's not really that big of a deal, but it was just something I noticed. I guess my final random thought before overall, since you guys have anything else to say, is I do kind of like the evolution of Davey in the story, or he's kind of just like, you know, it's the general like Breaking Bad kind of story arc where he's kind of just some normal guy and then he does something bad, and then after like that torture scene you can kind of tell how he changes as a person. And then, you know, when he kills his stepbrother at the end, that makes... Or not, he didn't kill him. He shoots him in the leg and then sends him to fucking jail. He's a just very changed person. I think it's interesting. He gets like a full character arc throughout the album. I think it's cool.
Yeah. In terms of the plot, something I thought was cool as well was the... I liked how sort of... Not ungrateful, but sort of like... the negative feelings that Dave's stepbrother harbored for Dave. Like in Bad Breed, he says just flat out, if they didn't have kids, I'd really kill this fucking guy.
Oh yeah, that leads me to what I was thinking is, I thought at the end of Vultures Flying Over My Head that it was going to be the stepbrother that killed Davey afterwards, because he had alluded to it previously, but then the opposite happened, which I think is cool.
Yeah, I think kind of I think that's part of the storytelling. You can kind of see it because he says it like, the only time you ever called me was to rob a bank, and like you can sort of see like these aren't the best, like these aren't good people. So like one, I was expecting the de-evolution of Dave to happen. I was also surprised he shot his brother in the leg, which is like, I don't know why I was surprised at that, but I remember when I listened to this with my brother originally, we both like had that moment of like damn, like shit. I mean, like nobody wins at the end of the day. Like, not that them completing the mission and getting revenge was going to be an ultimate win, because Dave's brother still robbed him at the end of the day, and you can't trust someone who does that. But just to know that had to come to a crescendo, and it coming to like that conclusion as quickly and as suddenly was so fucking cool. Just props to that. Vultures Fly in My Head is so fucking good. I'm surprised Dave's Dilemma has more listeners or has more plays than Vultures Fly in My Head. Legitimately.
I think it's just because it's the first track of an episodic quote unquote album, so most people are like, they start it but then they don't finish it.
I want to agree, but then people just skipped, or like it shows the two negative songs I think in this album are Consequences and Ricardo's Keys, and you can kind of see that in the numbers. Like, people very much probably do listens to Dave's Dilemma, Bad Breed, and then go straight to Vultures Fly in My Head and skip the other two, which I didn't notice until I'm sitting here looking at it, and that's a pretty neat detail, because I like Ricardo's Keys. I like the telling of like, I like that that solemn sorrow, that broken, that like what makes a like I don't know how to describe it. Like that titular moment. Like I feel like it's almost like just to relate it to like a good game. It's like when you notice Arthur is like dying. Like it's like one of those moments where it's like, oh damn, like this is a big moment. I liked it. I like this album. I think this album has a lot of key pieces I remember bits of, and maybe not the complete whole thing in totality. But I think those bits and pieces are like A+ S tier storytelling.
Tanner, do you have any closing thoughts?
Nah, I've pretty much said everything I had to think on.
Tanner, name 3 black people.
Dude, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, and George Carver Washington. Or George Washington Carver.
Name your top 3 favorite black people.
My top 3 favorite? Thomas Sowell, Clarence Thomas, and Uncle Ruckus.
If you would have said Tavichi there, that would have been amazing.
What the fuck?
Barack Obama did so many war crimes.
Barack Obama.
You think
Michelle
I'm gonna choose
Obama,
Barack Hussein Obama?
Rosa Parks.
Her husband had a car.
I know. It doesn't change anything. They still fucking persecuted her for being black, but like. Anyways.
That was also a setup. That was a setup. That was a stunt. That was a publicity stunt.
True.
What if she had a really annoying voice? Have you thought about that, Jackson? We've never heard a recording of her.
I thought, isn't her whole thing that she was trying to get the city to do that so she could sue them?
No, she wasn't trying to sue them. She was just trying to make a public point. Because at that time,
she was funded by George Soros.
Yeah. At that point, like the wider public was kind of like, this is weird. This is weird. What's going on? It had not really been like a public, like it had always been like, well, these are the rules. But now it's on television. Like we're enforcing these rules. A lot more people than they expected were like, what the fuck are these rules for?
Can you imagine people like starting a protest movement over like public busing nowadays?
Yeah, I think that's such a fucking shame. You know,
like, hey man, I'm not being allowed to get pissed on by homeless people.
This fucking bus driver keeps stopping because the homeless man keeps putting his feet up. Where else is he gonna put his feet? Yeah, no, that'd be hilarious. No, I've had this long-standing public thing amongst closer friends that I believe public transportation should be free, and I'm always called a retard for that idea.
Dude, it's free where I
think
live.
Public transportation should be abolished. It's clearly a failure.
They should give everyone a car. They should sell all the buses and use that to give everyone a car.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I guess let's get to our ranks here before
this episode
talk about
is
some random
so much
shit.
riffing, bro.
Yeah, we're like half random bullshit like Rosa Parks, half actually the fucking album we're reviewing.
We're weaving our own story through this review, dude.
We are true. This is our character arc.
I wonder if the artist is ever gonna hear this, and just in the middle he's gonna be like, they're not
what
even reviewing
What the fuck are they talking
this.
about?
They're talking about Rosa fucking Parks.
Anywho,
Oi, what's all this then?
I'm just gonna assume I'm
Rosa
the
Parks
lowest.
in it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna assume I'm the lowest on this album. I'm currently at a 6 out of 10. I'm like closer to a 7 than a 5 here. But I think
Nice.
it's fine. I think it's an interesting project, but I'm not like crazy about it or anything.
That's solid. I'm at an 8.
Whoa! God damn, dude. I don't think this is better than the Library of Babel at all.
And you gave that like a 3.
I don't know what the fuck to rank this after hearing those two. I wanted to give it a 5 because I feel like this is a perfect middle of the road rap album or EP, because it's not an album, it's an EP. I feel like if it was longer, more stories, better beats, you could do something. If he was to make this into an album, I don't think it would be a bad album. It being an EP feels a little lazy to me because he's better than this. which is why I
That
wanted to give it a
whiny
5.
bastard.
But hearing you guys
We actually
give it-
just hate the British.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Hearing you guys give it a 5, a 6, and a 7 makes me want to give it a 7 because I do enjoy it for its concept, and I do enjoy it as a piece of listenable media. And if it was able to get you guys to enjoy it, it did its job fucking perfectly.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I'm
Guy's
black.
just a hater. He's listened to too much. He's jaded.
This guy.
So are you giving it a 7 or are you going to stick with your 5?
I'm gonna give it a 6.
A 6, okay.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I'm gonna give it a 6.
He heard that song Kanye just released about him sucking his cousin's dick
I
as a
haven't.
child. and
I
he
don't
was like,
believe that.
"Dude,
Is that real?
Nothing else can compare to this." I
Can
don't
we
know, I
go?
didn't
Can we
listen
go
to
on
it
a
either.
tangent and talk about Kanye?
We can't talk. That would take too long.
If
Can
we
we
do, I'm going
upload
to
a
cut it all out
separate-
anyways.
Can we upload a
this-
separate video on our thoughts about Kanye every week?
You'll have to pick a Kanye album to.
That's for the
to let us
Patreon
do
members. Anywho, the album lands at a 6.7, tying it with such albums like UUFO, Kven, and the ICDD one that I don't know the name of because it's some long Japanese bullshit.
Radical.
How exciting.
Time for me to pick an album, right?
No, it's me.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It's Tanichi, me, you. You just picked Steven Universe
Oh,
before this.
right. Tanichi's first. I thought Tanichi was in the middle. Damn.
You're getting lost in the sauce because this is
I
first
do
pick in a
enjoy
while.
the middle.
Anyways,
Stuck in the middle with you.
this week, and by this week I mean this section, we are going to be reviewing. Where the fuck is it? I lost it. God damn it.
If it's Japanese, I'm writing.
This is not Japanese. This is Australian. This
Even
is the
worse.
2017 album by progressive metal band Ne Obliviscaris, Earn.
What the fuck is progressive metal?
I guess we'll find out.
It's kind of like prog rock, but metal.
What is prog rock?
This album is only 4
Is it
songs
System of a
long.
Down?
No.
Oh.
It's all just music about social services.
No, it has
So it's
nothing. It has
System of
nothing
a
to
Down.
do. It has nothing to do with actual like social progressivism. Like, nothing to do with that. But yeah, it's technically 6 songs, but it's really 4 songs, and it's 45 minutes long, so it's not crazy long of an album.
What the fuck?
Oh, that's right. I was trying to remember what like the sort of characteristics of prog metal are.
So
and
long
long
as
ass
fuck.
songs is
Yeah, like
one
all of them are like. I think the shortest song is like 7 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a 9-minute 52, 7 minutes, 11 minutes, 7 minutes, 6:39.
Damn! Alrighty then.
Well, you guys come on back now and check out that fucking album earned by
Nail
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Later!